So today we're gonna make burritos. April 7th is National Burrito Day, so I figure I'd give you guys a few options. While some of these options are less traditional and unorthodox, they're extremely tasty. We're gonna do a breakfast burrito, a corned beef and hash burrito, and then a chimichanga at the end that you guys are gonna love. Let's get into it. Here we go. I know it's going to be extremely hard to pick a winner here, but I guess we'll start with the breakfast burrito. Let's make a quick pico de gallo since that's the easiest thing to do first. To start, we're going to take 1 to 2 medium-sized tomatoes, remove the seeds from the tomato, julienne, and dice nice and fine. Place the diced tomatoes in a bowl and set aside. Next, we're going to finely dice half of a sweet onion. When I'm making my pico de gallo, I like a 2-to-1 ratio tomato to onion. Place the onion in a bowl, and then we're going to add half of a diced jalapeno. If you want it less spicy, remove the seeds from the jalapeno or sub for green bell pepper. Place the diced jalapeno in the bowl, and then we're going to finely chop about 1/4 cup of cilantro. Keep in mind, you can always scale this recipe up or down depending on how many burritos you're making. We're going to finish the pico de gallo with some lime juice, olive oil, and season with salt and pepper to taste. Give it a nice mix, cover with saran wrap, and place in the fridge until you're ready to use. Now let's move on to making some hash browns. I try to use russet potatoes if I have them. I find that they get nice and crispy over a Yukon Gold, which is a little bit softer of a potato. Peel and slice the potato in half, and then in half again depending how big it is. Cut into thin strips and then a small dice. You want to go smaller than normal here. It's going to give a nice texture in the final product of our breakfast burrito. Place the diced potatoes in a bowl, and then we're going to rinse under cold water to remove the excess starch from the potatoes. Once the water runs clear, go ahead and drain the potatoes and dry completely. Now in a medium-sized pan on medium-high heat, add a little bit of oil and your diced potatoes. Season with a little bit of salt and pepper, then continue to cook until crispy, stirring often. So remember I said to dry the potatoes? Mine were a little bit wet, and as you can see they stick to the bottom of the pan, so make sure they're completely dry before making your hash browns. Next, let's move on to making our sausage, egg, and cheese scramble. So what I have here is 1 pound of chicken sausage. Most grocery stores now make their own chicken sausage in-house. You're looking for Italian chicken sausage, or if you prefer it, you can just use pork Italian sausage. Remove from the casing and set aside. In a medium-sized pan on medium heat, add about a tablespoon of olive oil and some of your chicken sausage. Break up the sausage into small pieces and brown until completely cooked. Next, we're going to crack 3 or 4 large eggs into a medium-sized bowl and whisk until homogeneous. Reduce the heat to medium-low and then add your scrambled eggs to your sausage. Make sure to continually stir the scrambled eggs in the pan to help prevent them from sticking to the bottom. Once the eggs are cooked, we're going to fold in a nice amount of mild cheddar cheese. And that's our sausage, egg, and cheese scramble. Now let's talk about tortillas for a minute. You could go through all the work of making your own tortillas by adding the flour, the water, mixing the dough, rolling it out, kneading the dough, cutting it into pieces, weighing it out, rolling it out, cooking each one in the cast iron pan, keeping them warm, or you can simply just use good old-fashioned store-bought tortillas, which I know 99% of people are going to use. To assemble our burrito, we're going to add a little bit of cheese on the bottom, followed by our sausage scrambled eggs, a nice layer of our hash browns, and finally some of our pico de gallo that we made earlier. Roll the burrito by tucking the center in, folding the sides over, and rolling it nice and tight. Next, in a dry cast iron pan on medium heat, add the burrito seam side down. Toast the burrito on all sides, then remove from the pan. We're going to place the burrito on the cutting board and cut in half on a bias. Now we're going to serve it up on a plate with a little bit of pico de gallo on the side. I decided to sprinkle some on the plate because I got a real problem. I got to garnish with something. Anyways, let's move on to making our corned beef hash burrito. So here I have about a 4 to 5 pound corned beef brisket that I got at Costco. Gently cut the corned beef open with scissors and remove the seasoning packet. I got pretty lucky this time. This is a nice corned beef brisket. I only picked through about 40 or 50 of them to find the right one. So this next step is optional. I like to dunk the corned beef brisket in some water to help remove the excess salt from the brine. Now place the corned beef brisket in a pot filled with water, making sure the corned beef is completely covered. Then add your seasoning packet to the pot and stir. I recommend placing the corned beef on the largest burner on your stove, turning the heat to medium-high, and once simmering, turn the heat to low, cover, and cook for around 3 to 4 hours. Now let's move on to making a little bit of horseradish sauce. We're going to combine 1/4 cup of mayo, 1/4 cup of sour cream, a tablespoon of horseradish, a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, season the taste with salt and pepper, give that a stir, and that's your horseradish sauce. So our corned beef has been cooking for around 4 hours. We're going to remove the point and flat muscle and slice into nice slices against the grain. So since we have our hash browns ready to go, let's start building our burrito. Take one of your flour tortillas, spread a nice amount of your horseradish sauce on the bottom, followed followed by a generous amount of your corned beef, add a nice amount of your hash browns, followed by a poached egg that we poached for around 2 minutes. Cut open the egg and spread the egg yolk all over, then roll up the burrito by tucking the center in, folding over the sides, and rolling up nice and tight. Just like before, in a hot cast iron pan, add the burrito seam side down and toast on all sides. Remove from the pan and place on the cutting board. For this burrito, I find it's best just to slice right down the center. Let's take a moment to admire that beautiful cross section before we plate this up. We're going to serve with some of that horseradish sauce on the side and garnish with a little chive. Now let's move on to our final burrito. Now I know this isn't technically a burrito, but nothing we've made so far is actually traditional. To start, we're going to take some boneless, skinless chicken thighs, cut off some of the fat, and set aside. For our marinade, we're going to take 1 guajillo and 1 ancho chili. Remove the seeds and stems from the chili, and then we're going to place in a large bowl, then rehydrate the chilies with some hot water. You want to add just enough hot water to completely submerge the chilies. Once the chilies are soft, we're going to add to a food processor along with some of the liquid. Pulse and puree the chilies until smooth, adding a little more liquid if needed to get it to blend. Once you have a nice smooth consistency, pass the puree through a double mesh strainer to remove any of the pieces that didn't blend. Now let's move on to marinating our chicken. In a large bowl, combine the puree and your boneless, skinless chicken thighs. We're going to give that a toss, then add about a tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of onion powder, a tablespoon of cumin, a tablespoon of oregano and smoked paprika, 1 chipotle pepper and adobo sauce, the juice of 1 lime, and lastly, we're going to add a little bit of oil and salt and pepper. Mix the chicken until all the seasoning is evenly incorporated throughout, then cover with plastic wrap and let marinate for at least 1 hour or up to overnight in the fridge. While the chicken is marinating, we're going to make an avocado crema to go with our chimichanga. Cut the avocado in half and remove the pit. Slice each half and half again and peel the avocado. Place the avocado in the food processor, along with 1/4 cup of sour cream, 1 to 2 garlic cloves, a handful of cilantro, the juice of half a lime, and a little bit of salt and pepper. Puree the avocado crema until smooth, then adjust the seasoning to your taste. We're going to optionally place in a squeeze bottle for presentation, but you can also serve on the side. Now let's move on to cooking our chicken. So either on a charcoal grill or a cast iron pan on medium-high heat, add a little bit of oil and your chicken. I prefer to grill the chicken, but at the time of filming this video, there's still snow on the ground, so we're going to cook it in the cast iron pan. Sear the chicken on both sides until you get a good caramelization and the internal temperature reaches at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Remove the chicken from the pan and let rest for 5 to 10 minutes before slicing. Once the chicken is rested, slice into thin strips and again into small pieces that are slightly smaller than bite size. We're going to place the chopped chicken in a bowl and get ready to assemble our chimichanga. We're going to start by spreading a nice thin layer of refried beans on the bottom of the tortilla, followed by some of our chicken, a few black beans, a thin layer of white rice, and lastly some Monterey Jack cheese. So by this point, you guys should know how to roll up a burrito. We're going to roll it up nice and tight, and then shallow fry in some 350-degree oil until nice and golden brown and crispy on all sides. Remove from the oil and place on some paper towel to drain. We're going to serve it up with some of the avocado crema on top of the chimichanga, garnish with some shredded lettuce, diced tomato, and a lime wedge. Out of all three, I know I'm going to have a hard time picking which one's my favorite. Enjoy. So there you have it. I give you 3 different burrito options to try. I know these are unorthodox. I wanted to give you guys something that's a little less traditional, something you don't see every day. Leave me a comment. Let me know which one's your favorite. If you enjoyed this video or you learned something, give us a like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.